evening. It's like good morning in the East Coast and good afternoon in Israel and Europe. Most of the places in Europe, I guess. Welcome to Hannah Klein's Time. Before starting this podcast, this is Hannah Klein, by the way. Before starting the podcast, I would like to ask you to listen first and download my podcast and share my podcast with your friends. And think about what you the facts just on yourself, please. And I hope that you see the facts, or you just may oppose or just whatever. But I just do not like scribbles on my social media, like saying all these terrible things. But anyway, I'll just move on. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is now in the United States, and he is the first foreign leader who visits the United States. It's kind of like exciting, right? Yeah, the first foreign leader to visit President Trump. And I believe that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu won against Hamas. And this military campaign that he had to do after October 7th was not something that he wanted to do, but he had to do. But anyways, it's not a genocide, or it's not against genocide convention like Karim Khan claims. Well, it's all about politics, and he's so unprofessional. Like, he's so political, and also he is very corrupt. And the arrest warrant, by the way, is illegal. But anyway, just moving back to the main topic, I believe that President Trump just made the right decision about Gaza, and it's more than enough. We don't need the longest tunnel in Gaza, and that just small tiny area has the longest tunnel in the world, which is unbelievable. And unlike Mainichi journalists write about, it's not for storing food, but it's for storing weapons, and even a truck can go through to carry weapons and smuggle weapons, actually. Well, it's very scary. Can you imagine maybe like North Korea, like digging a tunnel towards Japan and attack Japan? It's just too terrible to even imagine. And I would just share like some of the UNWRA school kids like conversation, or what they say later. But anyways, I believe that Israel is safe. It becomes safer. I mean, for people of Israel, and more people visit Israel, even during the wartime or after the war. But I guess U.S. It's not occupying, but like temporarily probably owning that area makes the region much safer. And I just hope that it is successful. And also, I believe that this Gaza should be safer, not like now. Like Hamas is not needed. They are just they should just they're not needed in Gaza. And I don't care. I mean, they are the ones who commit genocidal acts on October 7th. Well, I will read out the conversation, which I translated from Arabic, who told what they think during the interview, and they are from schools, UNWRA school at Jerusalem. And I'm going to say why I'm going to read out, because it's directly related to Japan right now. And it's a real crisis situation. Moving on. I have to say some very good, nice words about Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and I hope that there is some relief in people of Israel. By the way, I am very, very appalled at the politics that is going on in Japan. I was very reluctant to talk about it because it was so bad, terrible. This started out after Prime Minister Abe was assassinated, actually. And, I learned that former Prime Minister Kishida, he was the power grabber. I learned. And he would say that, he's doing the right thing to and got rid of the politicians or rivals or whatever who could be the potential rival for him, and that's what he did. And then Prime Minister Ishiba, this time, his dressing was terrible, and his dressing is terrible now, and his ideology is based on Tanzan Ishibashi, who believes that there should not be colonies, something like that. Well, it sounds democratic, but my grandmother lived in Manchuria for 10 years, and we know, I've heard that the government-owned companies were having a very hard time managing financing. And that's one of the reasons why my grandfather went to Manchuria. But, it was before the war, way before the war, and they lived for 10 years. But, he is going to deny the personality of the people. This is something that matters to me, really. Personally, I take it personally because is he really going to say that, those who were in Manchuria are a bunch of bad people? Well, I would say no, because they were not always like what probably he describes. And as a matter of fact, Prime Minister Abe's grandfather was involved in the foundation of Manchuria, and I will refrain from talking about my relative who was involved, whatever. But I thought for a while, I thought that Tanzan Ishibashi is a very interesting person, but I don't think he was realistic. Well, he was very, maybe, looking at like Prime Minister Ishiba especially, I feel that probably he was not realistic either. The reason is not just the dress, the dress code or the outfits. It's I don't know what to say. Well, I wouldn't say that I don't know at all about Prime Minister Ishiba, but whatever. But he has a lot of desire, well, as human, and I thought that I first just thought that he was an idealist, but he is not, as a matter of fact. And what desire he has? One thing, again, here, to sink all the potential rivals who could take over his administration. And right now, it's in a terrible disaster at the Diet of Japan. That's about the same as for the former Prime Minister Kishida, in my impression. Well, not just in my impression, but he is the cause of all the Japanese issues. And I'm not going to tell the real name, but I believe and hope that people know whom I'm talking about, because I first supported her when her husband killed himself, committed suicide. Her husband worked for the Ministry of Finance. He was a bureaucrat, locally hired bureaucrat. But her husband suffered depression, and he said that he was made to do certain unethical work, which is to change some information intentionally for the benefit of the individuals. And this was actually a scandal. And he was made to tell by his bosses that he had to do the work for Prime Minister Abe. In the end, I just it was about the sales of the land to the private individual, like the government-owned land, to the private individual with priority. But yeah, I just really don't want to call out the person or the people who were involved in this case. But I would just say that Prime Minister Abe was raised as one topic at that time, and the media were like criticizing him, bashing him. But after, this woman, the wife of the bureaucrat, I believe she was sad. Well, I believe she is sad and desperate, but I hope that she understands that no matter what she does, her husband never comes back. And I hope that the case that that came out, that with a verdict, will go to the Supreme Court and get overturned again. It's totally a humiliation of the nation in some way. But anyway, I just felt that this wife is driven by some political party or some political movement, and the person who was actually driving her was Prime Minister Ishiba. I mean, he was telling her that there has to be justice, you have to have fight in the court, something like that, in the letter all the time. And when he became prime minister, there was no words of encouragement for her. So he obviously used this opportunity and rised up. I'm sorry, but I'm saying this because he is not a person of virtue at all. And see, Prime Minister Ishiba is visiting the United States soon. Well, President Trump is very generous to Japan, in my opinion. But I hope that he tells what alliance, like being the ally of the United States, mean, and at the same time, like in a strong words to Ishiba, because he is out of control in Japan. So like what I expect is that probably he gets like banged in the United States and come back. That's it. That's probably one of the solutions in Japanese politics, to get grilled in the United States. You see, he thinks that Ishiba thinks that he is democratic, but I mean, he's very insensitive at the same time to people or the public opinion right now. And well, domestically, he's a mess. So, and diplomatically, he totally lacks common sense, and then he totally lacks manner, of course. We saw the G7 meetings, summit, whatever. It was terrible. By the way, what he came up is that most terrible thing that I could ever imagine. And this is one of the problems that I just want to talk about, which is to have an UNWRA office operating in Japan. Would you stop that, please? Huh? Stop it! Like he thinks that he's a humanitarian to save the terrorists. I'm not telling that all the Palestinians are the terrorists. And also, there are a lot of Palestinians living in Israel, and they oppose October 7th, of course. He thinks that also he basically thinks that he now has desire to just tell how right he is. So I hope that President Trump just destroys it. But anyway, I'll read out some, well, not some of, well, some of these, I should say, these UNRWA school children said. What they said. Well, see, this is from UNRWA school, Jerusalem. There are some schools in Jerusalem district. See, this I translated this from Arabic directly, and here. Quote unquote, we learn together, we study together, we're friends, and we will be able to defeat the Jews. I mean, what does it mean by defeat the Jews? Huh? It doesn't make any sense, and it has no business to talk about the Jewish people in that manner, but obviously the teacher is teaching how to hate Jews. And here, another one. Will you return to Rafah, God willing? God willing, no one will be able to prevent us from the Jews or any other country. What does it mean? And here's another thing. Science is the strongest weapon in the world, and we learn it. What is your intention to end this war? To end this war and is to be able to defeat the Jews. I mean, they are addicted to this idea because they are constantly being taught. And see, Prime Minister Ishiba thinks that he can change all these kids. Well, they are already terrorists, by the way. And here we go. We will be able to defeat the Jews again, God willing, with our will, our weapons. See, they have weapons. Our strength, our knowledge, and our weapon. Well, see, like they learn how to use weapons at UNRWA schools. And UNRWA Japan is lying. And there will be terrorists in Japan because of Prime Minister Ishiba. That's his legacy. And here's another thing. Today I'm challenging the Jews, and no one can defeat us. I mean, all these are terrible, disgusting to hear. And another. Okay. We are the Arabs. Okay, I know Arabs who are not in Gaza but in Israel. They're Israelis. We are the Arabs. We have weapons. We have knowledge, and no one can defeat us. So basically, they want a war, and they are the one who are starting the war the entire time, and they say we're the victims when they lose. And yeah, there are like terrorists running child shows using like Winnie the Pooh or something. But Uh, I just cannot believe all these comments coming. And what I will just explain what one of the terrorists did, by the way, on October 7th. So the interrogator asked, "How long have you been here?" "Around the beginning of the 30s. My father first?" "Yes." Then me, then Ahmad, and Hassan. Then we left. I left to meet my father and Hassan. Then me and Ahmad. After you left, what did you do?" "We left." Well, I just, there are like interrogators questioning, and there's an interrogator questioning, and there's a criminal. He's a war criminal, by the way. And no one cares, if he was not a Jewish person, he doesn't care and think that he's the victim or the resistance force. I'm sorry, it's horrible. And he said after we left, he killed her, meaning her father killed her. Of course, I went out and found a woman hiding under a tree. And of course, they killed her too. They raped and killed her. And the world is silent, including Japan. Do they understand what anti-Semitism is in the first place? And I'm sorry, but Prime Minister Ishiba is also promoting anti-Semitism himself. And I am deeply disappointed at Japan right now. And, joking about what Jewish people are going through. Nobody thinks it's funny. No Jewish people find it funny. And at the same time, I would say Zionists, they are taught, kids at our school are taught Zionists are evil, okay? Because Zionists are Israelis. They are the people who founded Israel. So, what is the problem? Well, the education of UNRWA is the problem because it's always the right to return. And do people even know who Palestinians are in the first place? Well, it's not about the nation Palestine. There was not such thing. And also, if you hear Bedouins, I'm not talking about all the Bedouin people, especially like there are Bedouin people in Israel, but having peaceful lives. But I'm not talking about Arab people who are living lives peacefully, but Bedouins, by the way, are nomads, which means that they move around. And by the way, Syria is called Syria-Palestine. So why not go to Syria and then, they're supposed to go to Jordan and Egypt, in my opinion. I don't think I don't think any reason why it's wrong to say that. Yeah, but by the way, Robert Kennedy Jr.'s father, Robert Kennedy, was killed by a Palestinian. for Robert Kennedy supporting Israel. I mean, it's not, well, I would say that it's not something that started after 1948, but it's something very old, and UNWRA is actually helping terrorists raise terrorists. So, and Prime Minister Ishiba finds it what? He doesn't care about the Japanese at all. And he promotes now to issue 10-year visa for the Chinese nationals. What is he doing? Just, I don't know why, but you know what? Please resign. Please step down from the position of the Prime Minister as soon as possible after maybe coming back from the United States. It's embarrassing, and it's not just embarrassing, but it's just awful. But anyway, I have to say that I am very much looking forward to discussing various topics with retired Colonel Ranzamir. He has PhD in astrophysics, and he is a very qualified person to discuss the military campaign in Gaza after October 7th. So please tune in tomorrow and listen to our discussion. Okay. So I guess that have a good day for my American friends, and then I have to say have a good day. Well, have a good evening for maybe Israeli people. So, but anyway, I hope that you have a good evening or good day. And I have to say good night. But again, please, after listening to this podcast, please download and please share it with your friends. And please ask your friends to download as well. So, good night and see you tomorrow. Well, I'll have to say till tomorrow.